What's up, do-it-yourselfers? Thanks for tuning in to Small Engine Repair Channel, where our main goal is to make sure you know that you have the ability to fix or repair whatever you want to take on. Thanks for tuning in to this full servicing of any chainsaw, where we're going to go over cleaning, sharpening, tuning, and performance testing of this thing. The reason I say any, guys, is because yes, we are working on a Steel MS310, but this video will work on any chainsaw. It doesn't matter bar size, doesn't matter CC, it's all going to pertain pretty much the same way. Sorry, I'm working over a slight head cold, so if I'm sounding a little nasally, I'm sorry. This is a professional chainsaw servicing, but it'll work for you DIY guys as well, don't worry. And if you got a little air pressure and a hand file, the way I go over the sharpening procedure on this, it's going to be with a grinder, but it will apply with a file as well, so stay tuned on that. We are also going to go over tachometer testing at the very end, so make sure you stay tuned for that as well, as we will spin this thing to 13,500 RPM. So right now we're going to start on disassembly. We're going to just basically get this thing tore down because I'm going to start cleaning it up. We're going to do some chainsaw ASMR and some shop ASMR with this thing. So sorry, once again, head cold kind of getting me. So we're going to start by removing the bar and chain and the cover there. It's just your saw's probably got different size nuts than this one does. The basic Scrench that comes with your saw should be able to remove these nuts no problem if yours doesn't have just a basic adjuster on it. So I will be kind of quiet here on some of this tutorial, guys, as I will be just putting out some shop sound, and I want you guys to be able to hear. But one thing, as I do blow some air pressure here, you really want to make sure you get in the oil galley, as I'm going to point out when I zoom in here in just a second. This is where most people mess up, and this is where a lot of times your bar will quit oiling if you don't get this oil galley right. So make sure you get that right. Now I'm getting in the bar guides here, and what we're doing, there's that oil galley, boom. And then basically I also will get the tip as well. We're just getting any kind of debris out of there. And the whole point of this whole thing is just to remove any amount of, you know, oil and caked up sawdust that we can. So just part of what I do as a service, and you should be doing it too as your service, as this stuff will build up and it'll just basically clog up inside the bearings and get in your clutch drum, and it'll also prevent oiling and proper, you know, operation of your saw. So we're going to move on to cleaning the clutch area out of this thing, and I'll be quiet and you guys can use some air pressure. And like I said, guys, this will work on Husqvarna, Echo, Shindawa, any, obviously steel, that's what we're working on now. It'll work on your lower end models like Poulan, Ryobis, Home Lights, those as well. And if you got a question on yours, leave it in the comments. As you can see here, we are just moving on the cleaning. I'm moving on the cooling fins. We are going to remove this starter here in a minute, and that's something a lot of shops I've worked at over the years, not going to call out any names, they don't require to do for servicing, and I like doing this, so stay tuned for that. Anywho, if you have a question on your chainsaw and it's not covered in this tutorial, as just stated, leave it in the comments and we'll try to go over it. But we don't work on a lot of the lower end models here, guys, just going to be honest. And the reason is they're just not cost effective. Just to be brutally honest, we charge $105 an hour for these things, and when you have $150 to a $200 chainsaw, it just doesn't work. So we're going to move on to air filter removal here. And the reason I left the air filter on during the initial cleaning is I didn't want any debris going down the carburetor. I had a comment on that in the first cleaning short I did on that, and I thought that was pretty basic, but we're just going to address that now. We left the air filter on, and there's going to be nothing getting down the intake because the filter was on. So we're going to remove the air filter now, and then I'm going to go clean it here in just 1 second. Right here. Okay. Different chainsaws do take different spark plugs, and we'll go over that in just a second. And one tip I should have mentioned here, you'll notice how I went sideways on that air filter. You never want to go directly down on an air filter with air pressure, as it'll blow right through it. You always want to apply air pressure from the side. Tech tip of the day. So we're as I tried to previously state, there's spark plug removal here, and your saw will have a different spark plug than most of these will. Even the steel chainsaws don't take the same spark plug these days, guys. It's always a safe bet to remove your spark plug and match it up with whatever your favorite brand is. I prefer NGK. As you guys can see, this spark plug was fine. The only reason I'm putting a new one in this because the client specifically requested it. So we're going to do that, and it's going to get a brand new NGK BPM R7A. And that's what this one happens to take. If you have a question on yours, see Napa or go to your nearest small engine shop that sells parts. So fun fact, we don't sell parts out of this shop. I get asked about them all the time, but it's just not worth it these days. So yeah, air filter installation here. I'm using the basic Scrench and most of this too, guys, as you can tell. And the reason is because I want you guys at home to be able to do this. There's really no reason why, if you're needing to go cut wood and you don't want to go pay a shop $150 or $100 or whatever they're charging in your area to go, service your saw, that's why we're making this video basically. If you have the means to and you want to support your local shop, that's why we love you and thank you for letting us work on your stuff. So we're going to move on to fuel filter removal and installation here. And as you're going to see here, I kind of made a rookie move in just a second. I grabbed the wrong size fuel filter off my shelf thinking, but anyways, we're going to move on to here and go get the right one. If you guys want to see my little parts area, let me know. I'll make a video on that, but I have so much content on equipment. I haven't had the need to make any toolbox videos or parts videos, and I have one shop video. If you guys want to check that out, I can leave a card right here. Hashtag working on the YouTube skills. We're going to move on to what I talked about earlier, starter removal. And this is where, sorry about the water pump squealing, guys. I'm at the ranch right now. If you want to check that out, Oregon Outcast channel. Anyways, starter removal. I haven't worked at a shop yet that requires this. And if you don't like what I'm about to do here, I don't know why. Because 90% of the saws that come into this shop feel squealy and gummy when you pull the rope. And this solves it. I don't understand why shops don't require it. For one, you should be pulling this, at least blowing it with air pressure, which we just did a little bit ago. And yeah, I pull this starter off. I can even do this on the saw a lot of times too, guys, but this one was feeling pretty gummy, so I went ahead and pulled it off. And you just shoot it with a little lube. I use chain cable lube, which I like this particular brand. It works for me very well. It's not super thick like a lot of the dirt bike chain lubes are. Anyways, you can use PB Blaster, WD-40. Shoot, even a little engine oil in a can will work. I've used Brake Clean to free up stuff before. However, Brake Clean will not lubricate. It'll just free up the dirt and debris out of the whatever you're trying to do. So this is just a simple procedure to keep your starter loving you. Basically, that little pulley that we just showed in the clip before, it rotates on a spindle in the starter, and there's a spring in there, and everything's moving every time that starter pulls. There's also two little ratchet plastic pawls that move, so we're lubricating all that when we do this. So just to go over your starters, your rope will like it more too. Giving your rope a little lubricant will like it. So we're going to move on to clutch removal and cleaning here, guys. The E-clip removal, some people call it the Jesus clip. I don't know why. If you take a few of these off, and you can see I did the thing here, they don't fly across your shop. You want to make sure you pay attention here, and this will apply to any brand as well. These things are the drum, basically. The oil pump operates off the clutch drum. So the oil pump spins, or that little engagement arm. When the clutch drum spins, that little tooth and hooks to that pin, and then yeah, that's how your oil drum works. So if you don't get that right, you're not going to oil right, and you're probably going to destroy parts. So what we're doing here is lubricating the clutch bearing, and as you guys can see, I just got some grease off my wall right there. Put it on, and this is just simple bearing grease. I don't use anything in particular, and putting it back together here. So I'm going to show you guys once again, this is very crucial. Make sure that little pin locks up with your clutch drum notch, which I'm going to point out here in a second as well. This little notch right here. I have not seen a chainsaw brand yet that doesn't have one of these. I'm not saying it's not possible, but usually 99% of these have a clutch lock, or they run off this little notch right here. So yeah, basically put it back together exactly how it came apart. So I didn't put the pin in there yet, or the clip. I know some of you may leave that in the comments, but we will put the clip on here in just a second. We're going to move on to chain grinding here, and I'm going to be quiet for most of this part, guys, as we're going to make some shorts, and I just want you guys to hear the grinder. All right, speeding up the process here. I figured you guys wouldn't want to see all 4.5 minutes of this chain sharpening, so I go 32 degrees on these things, guys. Some people don't like that. Some people go 25. I've heard people going 15. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I still live here. I'm never going to leave here. I was born and raised 32 degrees. I've never had a complaint on chain that I've sharpened yet. I've worked at a lot of dealers that I was managing, that I was having other chains sharpened by guys, and they would come back and yeah, it would. Anyways, 32 degrees is what I do. If you have questions on chain stuff, leave it in the comments. But the main way you can tell if your chain's dull, even while running the saw, is it won't be pulling chips anymore. A lot of times too, if you have a really good sharpened chain, it'll actually pull noodles out of the wood. Like, it'll look like swirly noodles almost. If you're having to push on the bar or you push on the saw and it's just pulling dust out, it's time to sharpen. You're overworking you're overworking the saw, and I have killed hundreds, and I'm not even exaggerating, probably even thousands. And if you guys want to see a picture of the different pistons I have pictures of that have came in over the years of overworked saws, leave it in the comments. But if you overwork your saw from a dull chain, it'll kill it, kill it, kill it. I've seen it in juniper, like I said, not even exaggerating, thousands of times, guys. A sharp chain is crucial on a chainsaw. So, and it can dull out within one time of hitting the ground, or hitting a rock, or hitting debris of any kind. So we're going to move on to raker adjustment here. I kind of showed some short clips of what I'm doing as far as adjusting. We're going to take these things as 30 thousandths depth. I've done, not to brag, guys, thousands of chains, and so I don't use the depth gauge anymore, long story short. And also, this is probably the worst steel chain ever created, this triple hump pile of garbage chain, but it works for most people, but not my favorite raker design as well, or even close. But anyways, that's beyond the point. If rakers are crucial, if you don't get your rakers down, your cutter's not going to work, basically. So you can sharpen your chain the sharpest it's going to ever be sharpened, but if your raker's sitting super high and above the cutter, it's never going to cut. So this is a crucial part. We're going to move on to getting that E-clip installed and getting the rest of the saw put back together here. Bar installation, now that it's nice and clean. You'll notice I have it upside down here, and yes, I know the beginning clips had it upside down, and my thumbnails have it upside down, guys, because I took all those after I was done. But yeah, I flip the bar every time, and the reason is, every time I put a new chain on a saw, or I'm out cutting and I've gotten, a good half day's worth, and I want to put a fresh chain on, I flip the bar, and just so it wears the rails evenly. You're not wearing any sides to one side. It's not going to hurt the bar at all. You should have an oiler hole on both sides of your bar that is basically designed to do this. So I get asked all the time, will you put my bar on upside down? No, I'm trying to get it to wear evenly is what I'm trying to do. So it's pretty funny when people see that. We're going to move on to chain tensioning here, and as you can see, I got the tip on my bench right there. And the reason is, when you go put your saw into a log, it's going to try to push that bar up. And so I'm trying to pre-do that, basically. I'm going to do this again after we start the saw here in a second, just because I've just found over the years that once you run and spin this chain, they like to sag a little more. So we will be readjusting this chain as soon as we are done testing and tacking the saw, which we are going to move on to next. So let's start this baby up, and I'm going to be quiet during this next part. Yeah, let's worry about that cold start, guys. Staying in. All right, she's running good. If you guys have questions on how to adjust that, leave that down below. I can go over that, but it's basically just a high and low, or a high adjustment at that point. I like these running just slightly lower than 13.5, and the reason is, if these guys drop elevation at all, we're sitting at about 3,500, and a lot of people go to what we call the valley. These things will run leaner, and just making them run slightly lower or richer on top end will help, prevent coking or scoring of any kind of high end. So you can see we got some old parts here. We're gonna finish to wrap up We're gonna put our scabbard on here, guys, and we are about done. We sure appreciate you guys watching this tutorial, and let us know what you want us to make next. Have a great one. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.